Yeah. Hola, me llamo Esteban Hadavec. That's all the Spanish we're going to go. The rest is going to be in English. I'm from Barrowstone, and I'm going to do an introductory presentation on what I call home wealth. It's really a new tool, a solution, and a strategy that we developed. And so I'm just going to take about 10 to 15 minutes to go through an overview presentation, and hopefully I'll have a lot of questions and we can exchange thoughts and ideas afterwards. So a little bit about my background. I'm founder and president of Barrowstone. Barrowstone was founded in 2014. We're a financial technology company that's basically making home equity an accessible, investable, and tradable asset class. We're going to talk about that a little bit further. But prior to Barrowstone, I've had 25 plus years in the securities, private equity, and alternative investment industry, institutional predominantly. I actually began my career in the retail side, which was on Sand Hill Road way back in 1992. It was Lehman, then Smith Barney, then Smith Barney Shearson, all within 2 years throughout the acquisitions. But Barrowstone, fast forward, was founded in 2014. It's located in San Mateo, California, and we provide innovative tools, solutions, and strategies for homeowners to more intelligently access and manage their single largest asset. So our vision at Barrowstone is we identified an opportunity within the home wealth space in 2014. We believe that there should be a way for homeowners to access their accumulated home wealth without taking on the burden of additional debt. Further, we wanted to find a way to provide institutional investors a better way to invest in residential real estate in exchange for providing much needed access for homeowners to this accumulated wealth. And we believe that ultimately these products and tools, as they gain traction in the marketplace, will provide a significant social and economic benefit for homeowners, investors, realtors, mortgage, insurance, and financial planners to do the following things: unlock accumulated equity, diversify investments, and more efficiently manage what we refer to as America's favorite asset, which are single-family residential homes. So, sort of gave it away, but I normally ask, what's the largest asset class in the world? Residential real estate. So globally, there's $168 trillion in residential real estate. It actually dwarfs all the capital markets, debt, and equity all combined. All in those houses that all of us either live in or buy or sell. And out of that $168 trillion globally, $80 trillion is trapped in equity.
Like half. Wow.
Yeah, a lot. And so bringing it home, let's just go from, that's the macro aspect. Bringing it home to the United States, the home equity problem is there's $13 trillion of trapped equity, and there's 14 million homes in the United States with greater than 50% home equity. Now, I know everybody knows home equity in this audience, but just to be clear, it's the amount in excess of what debts or liens are owed on the property. And there are 3 million homes in California alone that have 50% or greater of inequity. So, what's the problem? Here's the homeowner's dilemma. Homeowners are house rich, but cash poor. Home wealth is a non-financial asset, okay? And meaning that it can't be used to buy goods or services. You can't take your bathroom down and buy a car, right? Homeowners are not able to get cash without a loan. And probably most importantly, retirees need a way to convert accumulated home wealth into either current income or other uses without eroding current equity. So the real estate investor's dilemma on the other side of the equation is investors institutionally and just retail want exposure to residential real estate, but it's difficult to access and has significant burdens. It has high acquisition, maintenance, and disposition costs. Physical ownership requires a significant involvement, and you have vacancies, taxes, and insurance. I call them the 4 T's or the 5 T's: taxes, toilets, termites, tenants. It's very capital intensive, and probably most importantly, there is no way currently to hedge or provide downside protection. So real estate is a long-only investment. It's long in duration, and there's really no downside protection. Coming soon is some rental, but those terms will be a little bit different. The thesis here is that people take care of their home better when it's their primary residence than when it's a rental. But there are going to be some rental products available.
Okay, such as a 1031, if someone's just going to sell and go on to exchange it for a 1031, that might be a possibility?
Well, a 1031's outside of the purview of this transaction.
Okay.
So this is not 1031able, and the
Okay.
reason that it's not 1031able, it's not even tenant in common. So this truly is it's like a forward contract that a homeowner's accessing some of it. The homeowner has all the control. There are certain parameters and limitations on what can work and what can't, but the 1031 has nothing to do with us. If it's on the rental property, and they were going to 1031 it, or change owners, right, then the agreement's due.
Okay. And the other one was, I know that you said that the investor has no say in when the sellers decide to sell. But if the sellers, I think you already touched on it, but I want to be clear. So if the sellers decide they want to add another unit in the back or make some major improvements, the investor has no say in that?
Well, there's provisions within the agreement, and there are, it's got to be fair to both sides. So let's say that you wanted to add on a unit, and you took this money and you wanted to put an accessory dwelling unit for $150,000, okay? So you would submit, we do the servicing on these transactions, so you'd submit, all the receipts, et cetera, on the permit, right? And then you'd have a credit for $150,000. So when it came time to settlement, you would get back that credit of the $150,000. Okay, the requirements are it's got to be permitted, okay? And you don't want to do something that's going to degrade, the property, right? If
Right.
you put a skateboard ramp in or something, right? So it's sort of a
And
common
that's a money
sense.
generator.
Yeah, it's a common sense thing, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's how a homeowner addition or an add-on.
Okay, thank you.
Sure.
Thank you very much.
Sure.
I was just gonna say, go ahead.
Just quick, so as far as the terms, besides, what are the qualifications? Equity? And any, what else?
Equity.
Equity?
It really is equity. And when we get right down to it, and there are different programs that work different ways. This is a generic conversation, it's something just to be aware of, because everybody in here knows someone or somewhere, and then where it fits and where it doesn't fit, meaning that, rental's not yet, single-family residence.
Property
So-
condition?
Well, property condition, if they're living there, and it's going to be reflected, in the appraisal, right? So it's really for the equity rich. So if you get 20%, you're going to share 70% of the future appreciation. So that's a lot that they're getting, and that's a lot that you're sharing. But if you're later on and you can access 20% of a $2 million home, you're getting $400,000 without taxes and no payments. Okay, and so. Getting back to your question, in that scenario, your equity of combined lien to values, including ours, can't be greater than 65. So that means if you had 45, you could get 20%. If you had 50, we would do 10%, but not, I'm sorry, if we had 55, right, you could go to 10%, right? So it's really for equity. Equity is a qualifying factor.
Thank you.
Yep.
So I just.
And that'll be probably our last question, just because we're.
Okay, so real quick and then, so I hear that you say it's 35% of the future equity, which, that's right. right?
Appreciation, so none of the current equity, right?
Future appreciation.
Correct.
Okay, so in the example you just gave, which says somebody gets $400,000, so the payment will be 400 plus 130,000, which is the 35%?
No, it would be 70%. So it would be, so if the house went up, sorry, we're mixing numbers. So in my first example was 10%. So the premium that the homeowner received was $100,000, and the settlement amount was going to be $135,000, correct? Because the house went up $100,000. In the second scenario, if you got $200,000, okay, the amount that would be due to the investor would be 70%. So the settlement amount would be $270,000. Okay.
Thank you.
So yeah, and it could be anywhere in between there.
And remember,
Thank
it's
you.
future appreciation, it's not the equity, that's a big
Yeah,
thing.
it's not the
Sometimes
current.
it takes some people, what do you mean? I just want to say that I've had a lot of experience with these transactions. If anyone has any questions, let me know. I could talk about incredible situations where this has, how every single one has made such a difference for the homeowner. And I saw a big need, especially for the elderly, for the seniors that have their house paid off, that don't want to move, but they can't access this. And or grandparents that want to help their grandkids put for their college. It's just, it's too many, and I know we don't have time, but please, there's the
This
information.
is good, so
Oh, yeah, it's
Guille would be a
incredible.
great resource for any further information, since you definitely sparked a lot of interest. I mean,
It's something to be aware of.
very, yeah.
And Thank you very much,
unique.
and I'm sure you have other questions, but
Yes.
thanks for the time.
We do want to thank you for
Thank you.
sponsoring our lunch. And Guille, are you going to give them?
I'm going to give
his
him
business
I think,
card?
I don't think I did. Do you have a card, one of your cards? I'm going to
Okay.
hand him over.
That would be good.
So that he knows everyone that was here, and if there's anyone.
Okay, my tech guy's gonna have to unhook this, I don't wanna keep it. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Thanks a lot.
Ah, yeah.